All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's catch-up session for the October batch, which is going to start on 10th October. So this is just a general catch-up session, and also as a part of our training, I wanted to give you an insight into what is Agile and why there is Agile so much, in demand these days. So Agile is gaining so much momentum. There are multiple reasons, and this is becoming so popular in today's time that every startup company, be it small or big, is moving towards agile adoption. And there are benefits for the companies that are adapting to agile, and therefore this adoption to agile has increased the demand for agile methodology because of its benefits that companies are reaping. Before I get started briefing about what is agile and why it is getting so much popularity, anybody who wants to talk about what is agile, what's your understanding? Because you guys are going to be a part of my session starting 10th of October, and I really want to know and assess where you stand. Anybody who wants to speak? Yes, no? Am I audible? Can you guys confirm?
Yes,
Yes, you're audible.
yeah, you are
Okay,
audible.
all right. So agile is a iterative approach to project management. To develop the software these days, we had a waterfall model of developing softwares earlier, and still the waterfall model is there in many companies where the requirements are very, very clear, but where the businesses are very complex, where the business cases are very complex, the feature development is very complex. That's where the agile is coming to help. So agile is basically helping companies in breaking down large complex requirements into smaller components. So if you look at this picture at the left hand side, you will be able to see agile is talking about initiation and analysis. Then if something does not work, it again goes to analysis, and the design work happens repetitively until the final product is ready. However, in a waterfall model, we had the conception phase, then the initiation, and then the analysis, design, and construction, and then the testing. Construction as in the coding. Now, the scope of rework or the scope of modifying anything, be it due to some mistakes during the work, or be it due to the changes during the development cycle. The the bigger challenge on waterfall model was to accommodate the changes. It used to be very hectic task for the project managers and entire development team to redo the entire analysis, again redesign everything, and then move it to coding, then move it to testing, and then deploy it. So to get away with that challenge of rework, there was a need to come up with agile methodology, or a new methodology which will accommodate the frequently changing requirements that are currently we see in the market. Why do we see so many changing requirements in the market? Because customer demands are changing. Demands are changing, and businesses have to adapt to the changing demands. Otherwise, businesses will run out of market. So we have so many examples of businesses collapsing. Take the case of Nokia. It did not adapt to the change to implement Android, uh, and when it did not adapt to Android adaptation, it it started losing the customer base. There was a Symbian operating system that it wanted to use, but when it denied the change, it started losing the customers. Similarly, many businesses these days have noticed the fact that there are changing requirements, and if we don't cater to the needs of changing requirements, we run the risk of going out of market. And therefore, agile implementation is very, very popular. So let's look at what are the benefits agile has brought these days. The first benefit is it is proved. Okay, it's proved that it is working for most of the companies that are adapting to agile. It has increased the success rate of most of the projects, and the complexity of the project is considered before agile adoption is made. To implement agile, the complex projects are identified and those projects are broken down into smaller chunks. Then the smaller chunks are delivered and deployed. And there, that's where the complexity is broken into smaller pieces. It helps in making quick adjustments to the changes. Your client may come anytime in the middle and ask you to accommodate few more changes. Imagine if you had the waterfall model of working or developing a software, it would be very tough to accommodate the changes. However, if you have the agile way of delivering things, your each sprint, the each iteration will give you the chances to accommodate more changes, and thereby you deliver the value. Reduction of wasted time that results in higher productivity, which is getting used efficiently. Basically, rework would be considered as a wasted time, but in agile model, you don't have to really rework on most of the stuff. So if you compare the waterfall model, we used to have a lot of rework, even with these small changes coming in between. With these benefits in place, agile adoption is heavily popular, and it is adopted by many companies these days. Now, what is agile and what are the frameworks it offers? If you look at the agile umbrella down here, you see Scrum as one of the popular lightweight approaches. And we have safe, we have less, we have Kanban, extreme programming, CI/CD, FDD, and TDD. Under the agile umbrella, you have multiple frameworks to implement agile methodology. Now, if you make a comparison between other methodologies, other frameworks, and Scrum framework stands to be more popular. It is very popular, therefore, there is more demand for Scrum Masters. All right. Now, moving on to the next slide. Why Scrum framework is so popular? Anyone wants to talk about any example here? Yes. If you take the example of Scrum framework, it simplifies the way the sprint is getting executed. It has very simple roles defined. You have the product owner who gives you the requirements. Then you have Scrum Master who helps the team in execution of the sprint, and then the development team, which actually works on the development of the functionality. There are no other roles. There is no project manager role anywhere in Scrum framework. Scrum team has only 3 roles. Now you have 5 events: sprint planning, sprint retrospective, sprint itself is one of the events. Then you have the review and daily stand up. So these 5 events will cater to the needs of daily delivery. Every day your team works and reports the status on day-to-day basis. And there is very minimal scope of anything getting leaking out unless there is a communication very strongly happening within the team. And therefore there is more weight on transparency as well. And this is the reason why Scrum is so popular and Scrum Masters are in demand. And I'm sure most of you who are a part of this session today, you guys are already aware of what is Scrum and what is Agile, what is Scrum framework. But there are people who are from non-IT background, and to help them understand the need of Scrum framework and Agile methodology these days because of the changing demands in the market, I'm re-explaining the concepts once again. Now, what are the products that a Scrum team typically works on? If you look at any software product, be it Paytm, be it WhatsApp, be it Google Drive, or Swiggy. And for people who are outside India, they can also think of Uber as one application. There are two types of products basically: generic product, which is going to be available with all the available features to everyone. Then there are customized product. When I talk about customized product, I'm specifically referring to banking products. So there are some investment banking companies which popularly offer customized features to select clients, and that cannot happen without agile implementation. Therefore, you see Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citibank, even in India, HDFC. These banks are using agile methodology to integrate newer features to give better services to the customers and clients. And take the example of WhatsApp. We had a very simple messaging capability. Then, if you look at WhatsApp now, you have additional features getting integrated, from video calling to conference calling and file sharing capability, right? And if you talk about the Uber, think of Uber a few years back and just look at it how it is with new addition of features. If you compare the old Uber capabilities, the capabilities or the specifications or functionalities are more now. And all of these were integrated without taking out the product from the market. The product was still in the market. There were integrations, there were continuous deployments happening through updates, through software updates that we get. All right. So why Scrum is very popular? Let's talk about Scrum a little more, because it actually helps all the Scrum teams to break down larger component of the work into smaller components. A large piece of work is broken down into smaller units of components, and those are called as user stories. And the focus is on MVP. Each user story that gets delivered has to be a working functionality. And when you integrate the user stories together with larger functionality, they together deliver the MVP, minimum viable product. So MVP is nothing but the minimum features that are going to be available in the product, which will help the customer to initially get started with using the product. Now, the focus is more on quality than the quantity. Nobody in the Scrum culture or in the Agile culture will focus on quantity. Nobody will come and ask us, hey, there is more work, deliver more. That's not how we work in Agile. We work based on the quality that we need to deliver. So the importance is more for the quality delivery, not the quantity. It's an empirical model. When I say empirical model, I'm primarily referring to the fact that it has a proof that it has succeeded in the past. And therefore, with the proven results, the adaptation is high for Scrum framework. All right. And the last one that talks about reducing the complexity is the foundation of Agile. Agile basically is adapted where there are more complex projects. It's not adapted where there are simpler projects. All right. And if you look at the some reports that have been published recently, the next slide talks about some of the reports that speak about agile adaptation. Mainly agile technique and maturity, and the percentage of adaptation of agile and Scrum framework popularly among all the companies that are currently existing in the market. Compared to these reports are actually from 2021, and there is new report yet to come for 2022. And I'll share this PDF to all of you. Maybe you can refer and try to understand it yourself. So if you look at the percentage is higher on Scrum framework implementation. So most of the companies are choosing to move towards Scrum and Agile adaptation. And naturally, the demand is more for Scrum Masters. All right. So this is what I wanted to brief before I get started with actual trainings, so that this gives you an idea of what what is that we are going to learn in the session. And if somebody did not have an idea of what is Agile and Scrum, they will benefit from this session. Any questions before we get to the next slide?
Mr. Ram,
Yes.
thank you very much for this explicit explanation of what is Scrum all about.
Yeah,
As a
no
function,
problem.
the question is, as a function, as a job description of a Scrum Master, do Scrum Master write a user stories?
No, Scrum Master does not write the user stories, but he should know how to
Okay.
write the user stories.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Scrum Master
What
will never
about,
write the user story.
okay, they will learn, right?
Yes. Product owner writes the
Okay.
user stories. User stories are basically a list of requirements. And all of those
Okay.
are actually written down and made available in the backlog. And the backlog goes for the refinement.
Okay.
User stories are
Okay.
not written
Because
by Scrum Masters.
okay,
And
because I
if some Scrum Masters are writing user stories, then they are deviating from the actual agile practices, because
okay.
Scrum Master
Okay.
is doing the role of a product owner there.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for your explicit description of this and explanation. Thank you very much.
No problem. All right. So I will take few more questions. Before I take the few more questions, let me explain you about what is that you're going to get from my training. All right. So this is what I offer in my training for everyone who are a part of my trainings. So the first part is that I'll be covering the foundational theory, and it's really needed for everybody to understand the theory first, to connect all the dots and then make sense of what they are learning, and then apply it back to practicality. So without foundational theory, it's very difficult to relate to what is that we are going to learn. So the focus is on foundational theory for first 10 days, and in first 10 days I'll be covering each part of Agile and Scrum. So this is the content that I'm going to deliver, and this is what is going to help you understand and start using keywords in your interviews. So someone who comes from non-IT background, who has no idea of what is Agile, what is Scrum, will have an understanding of each word being used as a part of Agile methodology or the Scrum framework. And then moving on to the next, practicality. What do I offer in practical training? So in my practical training, basically the focus is on mock sessions and all these end-to-end experience of an interview. And I'll be covering all the questions, most of the questions that are going to be faced by candidates in the interview. This helps in advance to all the candidates to perform better in their interviews, because you already have an experience of undergoing a complete real-time interview. And I'll be providing a detailed feedback of how you do in the mock session. That helps all the candidates to groom themselves and be ready for the interview. And apart from that, I will also help on articulating some of the questions, some of the answers, to best present yourself in the interview, because most of the times we fail to deliver even after we knowing things, just because we fail to articulate. So articulation in the interview plays crucial role. Before you speak, how do you think of your thought flow, and how do you start explaining things and simplify your explanation, so that it is easier for the interviewer to understand and make a call on your interview. So articulation plays very important role, and I'll be helping on that as well. And apart from that, Jira practice, I will help on project creation, story writing, estimation in Jira, and JQLs, reports, and burn down charts. So these are the practical things that I will be walking you through, and most of my students would actually start feeling the difference in their confidence once they start, with practical phase of my training. Reason being, one mock session with one candidate will give them an idea of how exactly the interview is going to be for a scrum master role, and that actually helps them to get ready with the appropriate preparation. All right. Apart from that, if somebody is not talking, please go on mute. Let me just mute everybody here. All right. Now there is some bonus to my students as well. What is the bonus here? The bonus is that your association, once you become a part of my training, does not stop with just completing the training and going away with it. It will continue to be there even after the training is done. You will be added to my master WhatsApp group, where all my previous students who got placed and who are still giving the interviews are going to discuss their experience, their number of questions, and the way they are taking the approach to attend the interviews, right? And over that, every Saturday I will be doing a support session for all my completed batches. So you will have the opportunity to bring all your questions to me on my support session call, where you will actually benefit from from my details that I am going to give. All right. And then yeah, that's the bonus. You will benefit from my trainings. All right. Give me a minute, guys. I just need to attend my. All right. So this is what I'm going to offer to all my students, and you will feel the support system would continue even after the training is done. Unlike many you know uh, trainings that are being offered, where the association ends just with the last date of the training, and that's not the case in my trainings. You will be part of my WhatsApp group, and you will continue to get the support that you need. And what is the date of the next batch? The next batch starts on 10th of October. And currently, I'm already doing a batch. And once that ends, I'll be taking some time to settle down all the batch, people working on their resumes and giving them direction to get started. And that's when I will be starting the next batch. All right. So for registrations, you can drop a WhatsApp message to me. I will help you with the details of the registration. All right, so this is about my training, and I will just take a pause here if there are any questions. Otherwise, we will directly move to the QA session. Yes.
Uh,
So any
Sarang,
questions that you guys might have? Yeah. Yeah, Dandi.
yes. Financially, how much is involved in this your training? How much you take you should
Okay,
take?
I would like to discuss that, personally, Dandi. If you could just message me, I will speak to you separately. I would not like to discuss the fee structure here. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hi, Balram. I have a questions to ask. First of all, thank you so much for arranging these sessions. It's really gonna help me a lot since I'm looking forward to have sort of roles in Scrum Masters. So thank you
Mhm.
so much for that. First questions which I have is that is it any certification course like are you offering like after the
Uh,
completion? Mhm.
okay, so I'm not going to offer the certification after the course is completed. This will be a purely training. And
Okay,
what I would suggest, there is another perspective to it, Sonali. Certification. Firstly, I'm not against certification. If people
okay,
want to do the certification, they can go ahead and do it. But my recommendation is there were many students who actually did the certification without sufficiently getting trained, and
Mhm.
they were clueless after the certification because they did not know how to attend the interview, how to articulate their answers in the interview. And my
True.
from my previous batches, even in my current batch, there are people who are already certified but they could not crack the interviews. They had to decide on joining my training.
Mhm.
So I would suggest you can do the certification easily after the training is done, but
Mhm.
focus should be on getting trained and being able to clear the interview, right? That
That's
proves that you
true.
are already certified. Okay,
Mhm.
I suggest many candidates to do the certification after getting the job. There will be a gap between joining date of your organization and you getting the offer, right? So in that window you
That's
can do
true.
the certification. But
Absolutely. That's
how you
totally.
can how you can do
Mhm.
that, how you have to work on your resume, that I am going to cover as a part of my training, Sonali.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank
there
you
are
so
some
much.
tips and tricks that I will be suggesting, so that will all be covered in my training. All right,
All right. Thank you so
you will,
much. Thank
yeah, you will save the money on certification before.
you.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Any other questions, please?
As a Scrum Master, do we need to know any software application?
Not necessarily. You will not need to, have the in-depth knowledge of any software, but it is good to have the knowledge of SDLC, the software development lifecycle. The benefit is
Okay.
that it will give you the flow of how your team is working, right?
Okay.
And that's not something which is impossible to learn for someone. You can just read some of the books and you can pick it up. And in my trainings I'll be walking you through the entire phase of STLC as well, and you will get to learn. And if you do have the software background, that adds to your understanding, but not having the knowledge is definitely not a disadvantage though. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, because Scrum Masters are not expected to do any technical work. Our job is to help our teams to execute the work that's happening in the sprint. As long as you are helping your team to achieve the sprint goal, you are doing your best as a Scrum Master. You are not going to
Okay.
sit there and do the coding. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So, any other questions?
Hi, Balram. Yes, I have one question. First of all, thank you so much for this session. So my question is, after we are
Help
done
me.
with the,
Help me with your name, please.
oh, I'm so sorry, I'm Rupali.
Yeah,
Uh,
Rupali. Yeah. Go ahead.
so I just want to know, after we are done with the training,
Mhm.
how the interviews are going to be held. Like, are you connected with any consultancy so that
No,
they
no,
are?
no, no. So, see, the point is, the Scrum Masters are in great demand. I again repeat it. Okay, so I am not connected to any consultancy, and also there is no dependency for any of the candidates to have any connection with any consultancy, because the moment you upload your CV in Naukri, you will immediately start getting calls on daily basis. Okay, and to get the calls, what all things that you need to include in your profile, that I am going to cover in my training. Point number one, right? And you will get the calls because there is so much demand in the market, in almost every company where Agile is getting implemented. So you will get enough calls which will be sufficiently giving you opportunity to attend the interviews. And now, apart from that, if there are some openings within my network of people, if I get to know some details, I'll definitely pass on the details, and you can definitely make an attempt to attend the interview, Rupali.
Okay, understood. So basically, from our end also, we can look for the jobs, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And so, regarding
I would
Sonali's
I would
question,
suggest I would
yeah.
suggest opennaukri.com. Okay,
Mhm.
now I mean, for people who are outside India, this is just information for Indians. There is a popular portal called Naukri.com in India, and Rupali, go ahead and do the research. just by typing Scrum Master. Choose any city, any metro city, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad.
Okay.
You will see the list of openings coming up, and you will see the packages being offered. That will give you enough confidence to make a decision.
Okay. Okay. Surely I'll do that.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So anything else, guys, as a part of this session? Do you have any other questions? If you do, please let me know. Otherwise, we are good to wind up this session.
Oh, Mr. Ram, how much do you think will be the starting salary for a Scrum Master in the UK?
Mm-hmm. What's your question?
How much
By
do
the
you
way?
think? What do you think? How much do you think will be the starting salary for
Okay, the starting
average
salary of okay. So
for a Scrum Master?
in US, I'm not sure about UK, Dandi. In US, the average salary of Scrum Masters is around 80 to 90,000 dollars
For a start.
For a beginner. Beginner, as in, this is definitely not a role for a Scrum Master who is a fresh pass out. When you are beginning the role for the first time, you still have to have the experience of working somewhere in other role for minimum 3 to 5 years, and that gives you an extra edge to negotiate your salary. And salary basically depends on your negotiation also, right?
Okay.
So how well you did in the interview, whether the interviewer was impressed with your performance or not, accordingly they will choose to pay you, right? So there are many factors that go into making a decision for your salary, but average salary
Okay.
stands there in US. And there are Scrum Masters who are paid even beyond $1 lakh also in US. I'm talking about the figure in US. And in India, the
India.
average salary is around 18 lakhs, 16 to 18
Okay.
lakhs.
Okay.
Right? That was the
Yeah.
question coming from Vinith. Right, Vinith?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very much.
All right. So any other queries? Okay, I take the silence as no. I think
Just one last question. Sorry to
no
late
problem.
pitch in.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to understand how would your day be? What exactly you would be doing as a Scrum Master in your role? Just for our understanding.
Okay,
Uh,
so
so that
basically,
yeah,
not just my role, for any Scrum Master role, the day you can go on mute, Vinay.
sure.
You can go on mute. So for any Scrum Master, the day starts with reviewing the emails and starting the daily stand up. Then you look at the items reported, impediments, challenges reported on a day-to-day basis, and then you do the follow-up with different dependency teams and write the necessary emails, talk to them, and have those discussions with them to solve the problem, right? So basically, most of your time goes into talking to different team members with different teams. So as a Scrum Master, you would be spending majority of your time in meetings, and part of your time in writing the reports, sending out the emails, and then talking to your teammates. And if it is, depends on the day as well. If it is the first day of the sprint, then you spend most of the time in sprint planning. If it is the last day, you spend most of the time on retrospective meeting. So in between the sprint, you also spend time on refinement sessions. So every day is going to be a different day for you as a Scrum Master. So that's how the execution of the sprint comes out.
And do we
Right?
need to? What are the tools that we would be typically
Only
working
Jira
on?
is recommended. Jira is very popular tool that is used by most of the Scrum Masters, and I will be covering Jira tool as well, where you will actually track the items that are a part of the sprint, the user stories in the sprint. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I believe the questions are over. I'll take one more minute to take the question, if any. Otherwise, we should be good to wrap up the session. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate everybody's time. There are people from outside India also. Thank you for making yourself available, and I will see you again. In my training sessions. I see there is a hand going up. May I know what is there a question?
Yes, yes, sorry, Rupali here once again. So
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
wanted to just mention something about Jira. What is it exactly about?
Jira is a tool. Jira is a tool, basically used by Scrum Masters. Okay,
Okay,
if you just Google it, you will get to know more details. It's a popular tool.
okay. And how are
Okay.
we going to get the recording sessions? Will you share it in the WhatsApp group?
You're talking about the training recordings, or
Yes, yes, training recording,
so
not there.
all my daily training sessions will be recorded, and every day I will be uploading them to a Google Drive, and all the trainees who are going to be a part of my batch will have access to the Google Drive. So you will have the lifetime access of all the recorded sessions, and you can always refer to them whenever you need. All
Okay,
right.
okay. Thank you.
So one last question, regarding the
Yeah.
tool you are referring to, will we be having the access? Will you be giving the
Yes, I will be giving you
this
the
thing?
access.
Because yeah, okay,
Yes, I will be giving you the access to that tool. Okay,
okay,
Atlassian Jira is open source item, and I will be creating a project and instance, and I will give you the access just for the practice. But once you join somewhere, you will have a customized tool. I mean the Jira, the customized version of Jira, and it 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 will be customized in a way where it is specially designed to deliver your project for that particular company. So we need not
got it.
learn the customized part of it. If you learn the basics of it, that will sufficiently help you to clear your interview. All right.
Okay, thank you. So basically, no programming, no coding from a Scrum Master side, right?
Yes,
That
basically,
was the last.
yes, no programming,
Okay,
no coding will be needed. No, you need to have the technical knowledge and the context of technology, but you really don't have to sit and do the coding. Your team will do for you.
awesome.
All right, so we will just stop the session here, and thank you so much once again for joining in. Have a great day, and I will see you everybody in my next session, or maybe when we start the training. All right, see you everyone. Bye bye, take care.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you so
Thank
much,
you.
Balram. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.